Isn't that interesting that Jesus is quoted having said, it's the love of money that is the root of all evil. Look at our economic system right now. If it wasn't for the greedy love of money, then the collapse of 2008 and 9 never would have happened. Because people with too much money would have never risked losing so much by gambling with so much, and then for the effect to be people losing their life savings and committing suicide and being the end of relationships and the loss of years of planning and dreams are just all destroyed based on the effect of a lust for money. And that's anger producing.
So sad.
I think it's appropriate to be angry about that. That people who were living lives of integrity, and even if it wasn't in lives of integrity, it was their own, their own creation, was this nest egg, that someone else would just be able to come by and just kick it away like a mound of sand. The ultimate bullying. I think it's appropriate that it affects our emotions to make us sad, to make us angry, and then potentially to move us to action. So I don't believe, like a lot of people believe, that everything happens for this ultimate reason. Like, well, this horrible thing happened to you so that God could teach you a lesson. No, this horrible thing happened to me because selfish desires are preeminent in the world, and when left unchecked, ultimately create victims. But the beauty of God and the essential nature of God and the trustworthiness of God is that no matter how desperate your condition and your consequence, seeking support and alliance and infilling of every divine attribute is available to us, and sometimes in remarkable doses and with remarkable attenuated with remarkable speed of growth, is in a gracious way made more available to us in our poverty than in our abundance. So that's my long way of saying God didn't cause you to lose your life savings, but because you've lost your life savings, you now can make a very quick and deep connection with God that will satisfy your deepest longings and put you on a path that no amount of money could provide for you. And I know that's a hard thing to hear, but I believe it to be true and forever true.
Nice.
Now, this is all what I'm getting out of Psalm 78, because when I first read Psalm 78, I was thinking, oh boy, here we go. God's mad. God's punishing. You did a bad thing. God's not happy. He's taking away your riches or your whatever supply you've enjoyed. He's separating himself from you. He wants you to feel sad that you've been bad, and so he's going to take things away from you so that you say you're sorry and recommit yourself to serving truth. And until you do, you're going to continue to feel bad and not have anything because you deserve it, because you wanted more, and you loved money and wealth and power and earthly temporal things. And so God, who's eternal and just and perfect, is giving you that experience of separating you from that and basically punishing you for being bad. So whenever I see stuff like that, I always kind of what do I do? I kind of recoil from it, just thinking that sounds a little bit silly, sounds a little bit old-fashioned, sounds far-fetched, sounds fairy tale-ish, until I start thinking about my own life. And in times when I haven't lived in a very sincere way of doing my best to hold fast to the truth, then I often experience a distance from God and feeling less empowered, less enlightened, less motivated to do good, more inclined to be selfish and destructive and maybe mean-spirited, and just things just go in the wrong direction. And I kind of look at that as, the consequences of not being single-minded in serving God. Now, some of you, I'm hearing you, Universalists and Buddhists, Taoists out there, and you may say, well, your attention is off of divine attributes, so it only follows that cause and effect, you would now be feeling less loving, less courageous, less faithful, less creative, less altruistic, because you've put your attention on yourself instead of your attention on being of service to others. I hear you. And so I guess I'm not making that good of an argument here for what I'm saying, except that I want to say that I've kind of felt it oftentimes of just feeling the support in the absence of God based on the sincerity of my intention. So what I mean to say is I don't feel empowered and enlightened or more enlightened, when I've assembled enough strength and ability to be all wise and all loving, because that hasn't happened too often, if at all. But if my heart is right and my sincerity is there that I want to please God, who is good enough to me to give me access to his beauty simply by accepting the gift of his Son, then I almost always feel like an immediate, if not very quickly, empowered by this rejuvenating spirit